Oi, good day, Australia. Did I say it right? I don't know. I tried. Hey, Australia and the Fake Shemp podcast. This is Harland Williams, aka Fred Randall, star of the movie Rocketman. And the good folks at Fake Shemp reached out to me across the vast, bubbling ocean and said, "Hey, man, could you say a few words about Rocket Man? Would you mind? I'd be your mate for life if you could say a few words about it." I know everyone tries to do a Australian accent. So here's the story on Rocket Man. A few minutes on Rocket Man. This was a movie that Disney approached me with. They had been looking for a movie for me to do, and I'd turned down a few other options, George of the Jungle and a few other ones. And I found they showed me this movie Rocket Man, and I just thought, oh yeah, man, this is something I could get my teeth into. This is something I could rewrite. This is something that would be like a throwback to those old Jerry Lewis, Don Knotts movies, which I always loved. So I said yes to Rocket Man, and the folks at Disney were great. They let me actually rewrite the script twice, although I'm not credited as a writer on the script. Trust me, I rewrote that thing twice. The original writers were great guys. They did an amazing job, and I just kind of went through and beefed up or added on to stuff that they had started. And boy, I could go through the whole movie and show you places where I jumped in, but it was great. The whole "Call Me Mommy," where he's stuck underneath the moon buggy. I came up with all that. I came up with the original scene where I'm in the isolation chamber. To give you an example of how I worked on the script, the original scene for the isolation chamber was Fred Randall goes into the isolation chamber. They close that giant metal door. You see him looking through the little glass window, and he just goes, "Mommy," and end of scene. And I was like, no way, man. Fred Randall's like, he loves outer space stuff. He's so excited to be involved in space and be the one of the astronauts going to Mars. His imagination would go wild if you locked him in a room. So that's where I came up with all the stuff about the yodeling and the singing and the sock puppets and the talking to himself, and so that little scene went from the word "mommy" to, it was like, I don't know, a 5-minute scene of just him driving the other guy crazy in the next room, which was also something that I came up with. And then same with the thing where I'm flying around in a circle on that gravity machine when I'm going round and round. It was the same thing. They just wanted me to go, "Mommy." And I was like, no, man, this is too funny. Like, you got something whipping around at high speed. So I came up with the whole thing where the bolt comes loose and he flies through the air and he smashes through the wall. And once again, he smashes into the astronaut that he's already injured. What else? The scene where they announced that I'm supposed to go to Mars, where it's like, and our next astronaut is Fred Randall. And in that scene, I was supposed to faint. They just said, oh, well, Harland faints, or Fred Randall faints. And I was like, no, this guy, this is the moment he's waited for his whole life. I said, this would be like a Miss America pageant, Miss Universe pageant moment where he would scream and his hands would be trembling and it would be like winning the Miss Universe pageant for this guy. And I remember on the day, the director said, well, what are you talking about? And I said, look, give me one take. Give me one take. And I told the sound guy, I said, dude, back your boom mic off because I am going to scream like a little girl right now. It's going to be loud and long. And I told them, I said, I'm going to scream like I just won the Miss America pageant. And so they gave me one take of that, and the take that you see me do where I scream my head off is the only take we did. And I feel like it was almost one of the funniest moments in the whole movie. And they used it in the trailer, and people constantly come up to me and talk to me about how much they love that moment. Um, and the whole "When You Wish Upon a Star" scene where I sing to Julie out the window, that was something I came up with because they had this thing where Fred was kind of destroying everything and kind of ruining the trip, kind of because he was such a bumbling guy. And all of a sudden they had this scene where Julie falls in love with me. And I said to the guys, the crew, the director, the producers, the writers, I said, guys, we can't have we can't have Julie falling in love with Fred Randall because he's a disaster. He's annoying and he's ruining everything, and there's no catalyst for her to fall in love with the guy. I said we need to have a moment where she sees another side of him, where she sees a side she can fall in love with. And that's when I came up with the whole thing about them looking out the window and him saying, "Oh, that's my star." And she says, "That's her star." And then he serenades her and sings "When You Wish Upon a Star." And I just felt like that was a beautiful moment for Julie to take the turn and actually fall in love with me. And if you look at the scene, you can see that happening. And it's real, it's organic, and it makes it more real because if she just falls in love with me for no reason, I felt like it didn't play. It wasn't real. So, anyways, that's just a little snippet. People ask me in my career what was my favorite movie to do, and this one, Rocketman, has got to be one of them. And I'm very proud of the movie. And I could probably take you through every scene in the movie and show you the stuff that I rewrote or I added. Little lines like, have fun, and I go, "Ha, fun is my Chinese neighbor's middle name." Just all that stuff I wrote in there. And as I said, I love the original writers that wrote on it, but I'll probably never get credit for all the stuff I wrote into the script. But at the end of the day, I don't care because I just feel happy that I feel like I and everyone else involved put out a great movie that really is timeless and has a great shelf life. And you can watch it any time with any audience, and I think people will get enjoyment from it. So I'm so glad you guys dig the movie. Or if you don't dig the movie, give it a second chance. And you better dig the movie, or I'll get a shovel out of the back of my truck and I'll dig it. No, I'm kidding. So, hey, there you go. FakeShemp.net. Fake Shemp podcast. I really appreciate you guys reaching out. And I hope you enjoy Rocketman, and maybe someday we'll share some more stories. There's definitely a ton of them. And keep on laughing, keep on smiling. This is astronaut Fred Randall, a.k.a. Harland Williams, signing off. And we'll see you on the dark side of the moon, Pink Floyd. For at the very least, I'll meet y'all in Perth. Chicken chow mein, baby.